Keith Olbermann's mother right between the eyes. She was all right, the glasses were broken.
Chuck Knoblauch was such a meteoric rise and a complete fall. The Yips derailed his career, and years later, spousal assault charges darkened his legacy even more, casting a long shadow over what once seemed like a shining story. Before we proceed any further, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
They've got to play at the plate. 1-0 Minnesota.
Dollar Dog Night. Knoblauch was just in his early 20s when he burst onto the scene as a rookie, helping the Minnesota Twins win the 1991 World Series. It was a moment that solidified him as a rising star. Fast forward about a decade, and Knoblauch, now in his early 30s, found himself on the same turf in Minneapolis under the familiar Teflon sky. But this time he wasn't being cheered, he was being pelted with hot dogs. And not just any hot dogs, these were the infamous $1 Dome Dogs. On May 2nd, 2001, during what would go down as the most memorable Dollar Dog Night in Metrodome history, fans unleashed a storm of Dome Dogs from the lower and upper decks of the outfield. Knoblauch, playing left field for the Yankees, was the target. It got so bad that the game had to be stopped for 12 minutes. Even Twins manager Tom Kelly had to come out onto the field and plead with fans to calm down. So why all the hate for a guy who, just years before, had helped the Twins win a championship? Knoblauch wasn't just some random player. He spent 7 seasons with the Twins, winning Rookie of the Year, making 4 All-Star teams, and earning 2 Silver Slugger awards. But in 1998, Knoblauch asked to be traded, and his wish was granted. He went to the Yankees and immediately won 3 World Series titles with them. That betrayal, in the eyes of many Twins fans, was unforgivable. So when he returned to the Metrodome for the first time since the trade, wearing Yankee pinstripes and standing in left field where he had once been a fan favorite, those $1 hot dogs became weapons of choice. What should have been a nostalgic homecoming became one of the most infamous moments in Twins history.
Was the forfeit. During a 12-minute delay in the 6th inning, Tom Kelly intervened. I've never seen a major league manager do this.
The Bloch Head. In Game 2 of the 1998 American League Championship Series against the Cleveland Indians, Knoblauch found himself at the center of one of the most infamous plays in his career. It was the 12th inning, and the score was tied 1-1. With the tension building, Cleveland's Travis Fryman laid down a bunt, and Knoblauch moved to cover first base, ready for a possible out. Yankees pitcher Jeff Nelson fielded the ball and made the throw to first, but it hit Fryman and rolled away, leaving the ball in play. But instead of chasing after the ball, Knoblauch froze. He turned to the umpire, arguing that there should have been an interference call on Fryman. While Knoblauch was caught up in his argument, the game continued around him. The ball was still live, and Indians base runner Enrique Wilson seized the opportunity, sprinting all the way from first base to home, giving Cleveland the lead. In the end, the Indians won 4-1, and Knoblauch's decision to stop playing and argue became the talk of the game. The New York media didn't hold back either. One newspaper dubbed him a Blockhead for what many saw as a moment of complete lapse in judgment. Instead of keeping his head in the game, Knoblauch's focus on the umpire's call became a major turning point in the Yankees' loss. The devastating Yips. Knoblauch was once considered one of the best fielders in the game. He was so good, in fact, that ESPN personalities gave him the nickname Fundamentally Sound Chuck Knoblauch. But not long after he joined the Yankees, his play started to fall apart. His fielding, especially his throws, took a turn for the worse. In 1998, he made 13 errors at second base, but by the next year, that number doubled to 26, all of them throwing errors. In 2000, things got even worse when he started struggling to make accurate throws to first base, a condition known in baseball as the Yips, or sometimes the Steve Sax syndrome. Knoblauch tried everything he could think of to fix the problem, but nothing seemed to work. In 2000, he made 15 errors in less than half a season, with 10 of those being bad throws. One of his most infamous moments came when a wild throw sailed into the stands and hit sportscaster Keith Olbermann's mother in the head. Then on June 15, 2000, during a game against the Chicago White Sox, Knoblauch made 3 throwing errors in just 6 innings. The Yankees lost 12-3, and Knoblauch, clearly frustrated, took himself out of the game. He didn't just leave the field. He left Yankee Stadium in his street clothes while the game was still going on. Although he was back at second base the next day, Knoblauch never fully regained his throwing accuracy. Later that season, he missed most of August due to an injury. When he returned in September, he was often used as a designated hitter rather than at second base. And during the Yankees' run to another World Series title that year, he played exclusively as a DH. By 2001, manager Joe Torre made a final decision. Knoblauch was reassigned to left field, and he never returned to his old position at second base. Serial domestic abuser. In 2010, Knoblauch pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault involving his common-law wife. The plea deal came with deferred adjudication probation, meaning if he successfully completes 1 year of probation, the conviction could be wiped from his record. Along with probation, Knoblauch was fined $1,000 for the incident. The assault took place in September at their home in Houston. In the criminal complaint, Knoblauch's wife told police that he hit her in the face and choked her during a violent altercation. But his violent streak didn't end there. In 2014, he again assaulted his then ex-wife. Knoblauch was set to be inducted into the Minnesota Twins Hall of Fame on August 23rd, but a troubling legal situation derailed those plans. Knoblauch was arrested and charged with misdemeanor assault after allegedly hitting and pushing his ex-wife. He was released on a $10,000 bond. His first court date was scheduled for July 30th, and in response, the Twins canceled the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. According to the police report, Knoblauch's ex-wife, Sherry, told officers that the assault happened after he became upset when she chose to sleep in another room next to her child instead of with him. Knoblauch allegedly grabbed her, slammed her head against a wall, and threw a humidifier at her. The report states that Sherry suffered a large bruise on her arm, a scratch on the left side of her face, and a knot on her forehead. Sherry tried to get help from Knoblauch's sister, who was at the house at the time, but the violence continued. He allegedly hit Sherry in the arm and chest and kept yelling at her. Knoblauch's sister eventually took Sherry to her home, where they called the police. This incident marked another dark turn in Knoblauch's life, leading to the cancellation of what should have been a celebratory moment in his baseball career. Drug scandal. In December 2007, Knoblauch's name appeared in the Mitchell Report, which exposed evidence of performance-enhancing drug use in Major League Baseball. According to the report, Brian McNamee, the Yankees' former assistant strength coach, claimed that he got human growth hormone from Kirk Radomski for Knoblauch in 2001. McNamee stated he injected Knoblauch with HGH 7 to 9 times during the season, and said Knoblauch paid for the drugs through either McNamee or another player, Jason Grimsley. There was also suspicion that Knoblauch obtained HGH directly from Grimsley, who was his teammate on the Yankees from 1999 to 2000. Knoblauch, however, did not respond to requests from the Mitchell investigators to discuss the allegations. On December 20th, 2007, Knoblauch's name also appeared in an unsealed affidavit from Jason Grimsley as an alleged HGH user. The connection between the two and their time together with the Yankees only fueled more speculation. By early 2008, Knoblauch's post-baseball life took a strange turn. On January 11th, the New York Times published an article that described Knoblauch's indifference toward both baseball and his inclusion in the Mitchell Report. He expressed surprise about being named, stating, "I have nothing to defend and nothing to hide at the same time." At that point, Knoblauch had been retired for 5 years, living in Houston with no desire to return to the game in any capacity. However, on January 22, 2008, Knoblauch was subpoenaed by a congressional committee investigating steroids in baseball after he failed to respond to an earlier invitation to give a deposition. In fact, by January 23rd, federal marshals had not been able to locate him to serve the subpoena. Eventually, on January 28th, the subpoena was withdrawn when Knoblauch agreed to testify on February 9th. When the day came, he finally admitted to using HGH, but insisted it had done nothing to improve his performance. In his words, "I did HGH. It didn't help me out. It didn't make me any better. I had the worst years of my career from a batting average standpoint, and I got hurt. So there was no good that came out of it for me. It was not performance enhancing for me." Baseball was in his genes.
Down the left field line, Vaughn in the corner, at the wall, gone!
Knoblauch was born in Houston, Texas, and baseball was practically in his blood. He came from a family deeply connected to the game. His uncle, Eddie Knoblauch, and his father, Ray Knoblauch, both had careers playing and managing in the minor leagues from the late 1930s to the mid-1950s. With that kind of family history, it's no surprise that he followed in their footsteps. Knoblauch attended Bel Air High School, a school known for producing several other major leaguers, including Chris Young and Jose Cruz Jr. During his high school years, Knoblauch played for the Bel Air baseball team, but unfortunately, he missed his entire senior season in 1986 due to a broken leg. Still, he remained involved, cheering from the sidelines as his teammates went on to win the state championship. After high school, Knoblauch was selected by the Philadelphia Phillies in the 18th round of the 1986 amateur draft, but he decided not to sign with them. Instead, he chose to attend Texas A&M University, where he played college baseball for the Aggies. His time at Texas A&M was impressive, earning him a spot as a second-team All-American. In 1989, he was part of a team that won 58 games, the most in school history at the time. In addition to his college career, Knoblauch spent the summer of 1988 playing in the prestigious Cape Cod Baseball League with the Wareham Gatemen. His performance there earned him the league's Outstanding Pro Prospect Award, marking him as a rising star in the baseball world. Years later, in 2001, Knoblauch was inducted into the Cape Cod Baseball Liga Hall of Fame, honoring his contributions and potential during his time in the league. Victories and accolades.
Nothing. 10-inning victory.
Knoblauch's journey to the major leagues took a big step forward when he was drafted by the Minnesota Twins in the first round of the 1989 MLB draft. It didn't take long for him to make his mark. In his first season, Knoblauch was a standout, winning the American League Rookie of the Year award. That same year, he helped lead the Twins to a World Series championship in 1991, securing a ring in what would become a memorable season for both him and the team. One of Knoblauch's most notable moments from that World Series came in Game 7. With the score tight and the stakes high, he tried to pull off a bit of trickery on the field. When Atlanta Braves batter Terry Pendleton hit a double, Knoblauch made it look like he was starting a double play, attempting to deceive Braves base runner Lonnie Smith. The decoy appeared to work, as Smith only advanced to third base, even though he might have scored. However, Smith later claimed that he lost track of the ball on his own, and that Knoblauch's move wasn't the reason for his hesitation. Knoblauch continued to excel over the next several seasons. Between 1994 and 1996, he batted .312, .333, and .341, showing consistency and improvement at the plate. In 1997, his defensive skills were also recognized when he won the AL Gold Glove Award at second base. Known for his speed, Knoblauch stole over 40 bases in 3 consecutive seasons, making him one of the most dynamic players in the league during his time with the Twins. His combination of hitting, fielding, and base running made him a key player during his years in Minnesota. Once beloved in Minnesota, Knoblauch's popularity took a sharp turn after he requested to be traded. The decision didn't sit well with the Twins' loyal fan base, and it showed every time he returned to the Metrodome. Once greeted with cheers, Knoblauch now faced loud boos from the crowd, especially during his trips back to play against his former team. Rise at the Yankees. When Knoblauch arrived in New York, the expectations were sky high. Buster Olney, writing for the New York Times, predicted that Knoblauch and Derek Jeter would form one of the greatest double-play combinations in baseball history. While Knoblauch faced some struggles early on with the Yankees, he still managed to hit a career-high 17 home runs in his first season. That year, the Yankees dominated, winning a then-American League record 114 games. Despite his early challenges, Knoblauch found his stride when it mattered most. He was a key player in the Yankees' World Series victory over the San Diego Padres in 1998 and again in their 1999 championship run against the Atlanta Braves. During Knoblauch's time in New York, the Yankees won the American League pennant every single year and claimed 3 World Series championships. His time with the Yankees, despite the ups and downs, was marked by success and memorable postseason moments. The end of a legendary career. As Knoblauch's career wound down, his performance at the plate took a noticeable decline. Many believed his struggles were linked to his well-documented fielding issues, with Knoblauch seemingly overcompensating by trying too hard to hit home runs. His once consistent hitting began to fade, and by the 2001 World Series, he was benched for the final game after hitting a mere .0 throughout the series. Following that season, Knoblauch became a free agent and signed with the Kansas City Royals. However, his time with the Royals was brief and largely disappointing. Playing in just 80 games in left field, Knoblauch batted a career-low .210, and by the end of the season, the Royals decided not to offer him a new contract. With no offers from other MLB teams, Knoblauch quietly announced his retirement in 2003. Though his career ended on a low note, Knoblauch's accomplishments were nothing to overlook. He was a four-time All-Star, finishing with a solid .289 batting average, 98 home runs, and 615 RBIs over 12 seasons. His speed on the bases was one of his standout traits, stealing 25 or more bases in 10 seasons and racking up a total of 407 stolen bases. Of those, 276 came during his time with the Twins, making him the team's top base stealer since their move to Minnesota in 1961. Years after his retirement, on August 18, 2018, Knoblauch returned to the new Yankee Stadium for a special occasion, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Yankees' historic 1998 championship team, reminding fans of his role in one of the most dominant teams in baseball history. That is it for this one, but if you happen to like MLB legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel, Baseball Icons. I'm sure you will love it. Oh, and while you are at it, drop a comment telling us who to cover next, and don't forget to subscribe.